I would like to begin the October 12th, 2016 Planning and Zoning meeting to order. Would everybody please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Abbott,
Present.
Commissioner Selberg,
Here.
Commissioner Brule,
Here.
Commissioner Azarmi,
Here.
Commissioner Walker,
Here.
Commissioner Gabrielson,
Present.
Commissioner Kelly, Commissioner Gordon,
Here.
Chairman Flouché.
Here.
Thank you. You have a quorum.
Thank you. Anyone who has not yet signed in, please do so at the table located in the lobby. Should anyone wish to speak, please complete the request to speak form, which is also located in the lobby. Next to the sign up, a request to speak form must be completed for each item you wish to speak on, including sub-items. Please note that there are stairs on the right, left, and center aisle, and we ask that you use caution when using the stairs. There is also a ramp located at the audience's left. If anyone has written comments, exhibits, petitions, photos, or letters they intend to present at today's meeting, please have 17 copies and give them to the staff member in the back of the auditorium. If you do not have 17 copies, please use the overhead camera to present your documents. Please place your document on the podium and line it up with the arrows indicated on the podium. If you want your document to go on record, you must hand them to the clerk after your presentation with the agenda item clearly marked on the document. Members of the public cannot speak to staff members that are sitting at the table with microphones up front. If you have any questions, please see the staff member located in the back of the auditorium who can meet you in the lobby. Staff members are at the front table there. All speakers are limited to 2 minutes to make their presentations and statements. Everyone, either turn off your cell phone or pager or place them on vibrate during the meeting. If you must receive a call, please leave the meeting area, go outside, and have your conversation. We also ask that the audience to refrain from talking with one another during the presentations and discussion. Today, the Planning and Zoning Commission will hear public testimony and then forward the recommendation to the Board of Supervisors. The items, excuse me, the items of the recommendations made by the Commission will be heard by the Board of Supervisors Monday, November 7th, 2016 at 9:30 a.m. in the same location, with the exception of any continued items. Everyone attending the meeting is asked to remember that the administrative building and campus are tobacco-free areas, which means no smoking is allowed curb to curb. Also, only bottled water is allowed in the auditorium. No food, sandwiches, coffee, etc. is allowed in the auditorium. If there is any item remaining on the agenda, the Commission will break for lunch at from 1 to 2 o'clock. Approval of the minutes from last month. Has everybody had a chance to review them? If they have, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion for approval of last month's minutes.
Second motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner Gaberson, second by Commissioner Abbott. Any further discussion? Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right. Items number 1A and 1B have been continued by the applicant, so we will go to item number 2.
Good morning, Chairman Flouché and members of the Commission. Item 2 is an evaluation of a request for a rezone of assessor's parcel number 123-34005 from an AR 36A agricultural residential 36-acre minimum lot size zone to a CRE 36A commercial recreation 36-acre minimum lot size zone to allow for a shooting range in the Yucca vicinity, Mojave County, Arizona. Staff does recommend approval of standard conditions. Staff did add an extra condition due to the nature of the activities, that being a shooting range. I'd like to read that. The applicant shall comply with national standards for shooting ranges consistent with the type of weapon used. Staff would also like to note that we did receive 3 letters of opposition, 1 from BLM and 2 from nearby owners. The nearby owners referenced the CCNRs and that the shooting range would violate the CCNRs. So staff did research the CCNRs. The CCNRs do state that gunfire is prohibited.
Thank you, thank you. Is the applicant present? Okay. We have 3 speakers on the item. James McManus. McManus? No, okay. Ken Works?
My name is Ken Works. I'm with the Stagecoach Trails Property Owners Association. We just needed, we had a quick conference call yesterday on the phone. We just need more information on the layout of everything, and we did a quick search and found out that it's part of the property that's being discussed as part of the association, within the association, so we're gonna have to consider all the CCNRs that go along with that, and our experience is that there's county ordinances that mirror the CCNRs in all these property owners associations. But we just need more information. We need to see maps of the layout, and we're not for or against it, but we're trying to get more information on it now. Right now, our information is so limited that we just don't know enough to be able to even contemplate, other than saying that the CCNRs are gonna have to take precedence until we can get more information and find out more about it.
Okay, thank you so much.
Mr. Chairman?
Any questions?
Excuse me. Has the applicant, had a meeting with you or with the association regarding this project?
And the president of the association said that he came and talked to him a little over a year ago about it and asked his opinion. And he said that, most people around there have pistols and rifles and shotguns, and probably wouldn't be much in the way of opposition that he could think of.
But there was no meeting with the individuals or property owners in the area, right?
Right, there was no meeting. He never came to any of the meetings to present it to the entire board all at
Thank
one
you.
time.
Thank you.
So we just need more information. Thank you.
Any additional questions of the speaker?
Yes, I have a couple of questions. I've got a letter here from one of the people that lives out there that says, living in the area, in the near vicinity of this commercial shooting range would be like living in a war zone. I'm not saying I wrote this, I'm just reading it. My question is, do you live there or near where this is going to be?
I'm about 2 miles away, 2.5 miles away from there as the crow flies.
Okay.
The area that's described here in the agenda covers 2 linear miles. That's 8 quarter-acre or quarter-mile parcels. And it's not very descriptive. It leaves a lot to be desired as far as the description of the area goes. So we just have a lot more questions than we do answers at the moment, and we'd like to have the applicant come up and give us a lot more information about it.
The joining 40-acre parcels
Yes.
to this one, what's on them now? I went out there and tried to find it, and I couldn't find it, so.
Well,
Are they vacant, or people live there on some of them?
Yeah, there's a residence on one of the adjoining parcels, And as far as I know, there's a garden out there and things like that that need to be considered. So as far as the war zone goes, well, the price of ammunition nowadays, there's probably not going to be a whole lot of shooting going on. But the CCNRs state that prolonged nuisances can be a problem and need to be addressed. So whether it's odors or sounds or anything like that, if it's prolonged, it could violate the CCNRs.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any additional questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Ron Gould?
Good morning, Chairman Fluchet and Commission members. My name is Ron Gould, and I stand in opposition to this rezone. I'm a property owner in the Santa Fe Ranch Property Owners Association. I own lots 108 on Tortoise and lot 161 on Creosote. I believe that if you were to approve this rezone, you would set a precedent to destroy the CCNRs that were on these properties. And I realize that the county is not the enforcer of CCNRs, but I don't believe that there's any state statute that prohibits you from taking CCNRs into your consideration of your decision here today. I would ask that you deny this rezone and send a message of denial to the Board of Supervisors, and I stand for questions.
Any questions of the speaker? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Could we get the applicant back up or come up to the podium, please?
Morning.
Could you please state your name and address?
J.P. McCormick, 19985 South Stock Holiday Road in Yucca, Arizona.
Okay. Can you give us a little bit of rundown exactly what the layout is and maybe answer some of the questions that the residents have, just so that we've got
Sure.
a different perspective?
We currently run a guest ranch, or dude ranch, that is adjacent to the property that we're looking to rezone. The property that is currently on the guest ranch is a commercial zone, and we have it's approved for a shooting range, but we feel the one next door to it is more appropriate use for it in terms of the design and the layout, so that's why we're looking to have that parcel rezoned. We are a small guest ranch. We're looking to do this strictly for our guests. This is not to be open to the general public, so we're not talking about shooting every day. We're talking shooting at most maybe once or twice a week, and at most 1 or 2 hours, if that. This is for our guests who may want to come out and experience shooting. About half our business is from Europe, and a lot of the Europeans want to get a taste for what it's like to go out and target shoot and so forth. So we're looking for minimal impact. We do have the NRA coming out on the 17th and 18th to give us a full clean bill of health on the proposed range. We would have plenty of sound barriers in place that would minimize the sound impact for the immediate neighbors. To the right of us, to the west of us, we have the BLM land, so there is no sound issues there. To the north of us, we own about 120 acres of our own land, so there'd be no issues there. And then to the south of us, there is a large burn that we feel would be provide a lot of sound alleviation. And then to the east of us, we would put a sound barrier to prevent any sound from heading out into that area there. We are not opposed, and we understand the concerns of many of the residents here and all, of putting policies in place as far as limiting times of shooting, even limiting to a certain number of days per week. We understand people are out there, for peace and quiet, and we respect that. But we do feel that we can put a very small one-station shooting range in place with minimal sound impact to the neighbors. Don't expect this to be a war zone, as has been quoted. We're talking small arms fire. We're not talking lots of it, and we're talking, for a short period of time, if anything, once or twice a week.
Okay, any questions?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
This application does not have enough information on it, in terms of like what kind of range your guns are going to have, what classification is going to be there. Is that going to be contained within the property line? Is that going to be outside of the property line? The respect for, I assume that you knew the property that you have is part of an association, and there's a CCNR in place. I don't believe that you have met with the property owners to see, if they're in agreement or not with it. So, the proximity, some of these new guns and rifles, they can go for miles, so beyond your property line. So there's a lot of issues. And then they have like a property immediately to your north. On the GIS map shows some improvement. I don't know if it's houses or whatever it is. I may ask staff to help us with that. What is the property size and what is the going on just north of it, immediately north of this property? On the GIS map shows some improvement.
That's the guest ranch. That's our
The
ranch.
ranch.
Is that your ranch?
Yeah.
So that's 100% you own that
Yes,
one?
yes. Yeah.
And how about the acreage? Is it the application?
Yeah, the subject property in question is 38 acres in size.
Okay. And how do you respond to the CCNR question that was brought up by the applicants?
I did talk to Chuck Bennett prior to doing this and asked him if this would be an issue, if he had an issue with us doing this. At the time, he told me he didn't think there'd be any issues. We're out in the middle of nowhere, and I told him we were having the NRA come out to make sure this was a safe range, and he did give me the support. So that's why we decided to go ahead. I did meet with two of our neighbors. I met with Warren and Ray and Jane. Warren did express opposition, and I did express to him that we would try to keep the sound impact. Ray and Jane at the time did not express opposition, although I do believe they did send a letter in opposition now. But I did meet with everyone in advance to make sure this would be okay. The original intent at the time when we met with the county was to have the range on the commercially zoned property right now. There is a big burn there, but after talking to the NRA and all, we kind of felt that it's other property next to us, it'd be more conducive to it. It's a nice burn, and it's more open space, so that's why we figured we'd place it there as opposed to putting it in the current section that is zoned for that.
And you're aware that the BLM is not supporting your project, right?
Yeah, I think they might be misunderstanding. From what I read in the letter, it looks like they think we're going to be encroaching on the 300-foot zone. I don't think they realize that that's just because they're part of that zone. So if you read the letter, I think they're misunderstanding that they think we're going to be shooting on that 300-foot border zone. So that's my interpretation. I can't say for sure.
Thank you.
Any additional questions of the speaker?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I had a question there. BLM talks about a 300-foot setback. How far, when you build this range, how far would it be from the range to your property line, this shooting area?
It would be in the middle of a 40-acre plot,
Okay,
or
so
36-acre plot.
rough idea, how many feet would you be away from the
At
property?
least I'd say at least 300 feet.
Right,
from there,
okay.
yeah.
Thank you.
Any additional questions? Thank you so much.
I have,
Oh.
Mr. Chairman, I have a couple of concerns.
Okay.
We have a very nice, the applicant might want to wait up there a second.
Okay.
We have a very nice shooting range at Shinnerup and just off of 40, which would probably be, for me, it's a 25, 30-minute drive, and I go out there every time I want to use my high-powered rifles to see if they're zeroed in. Putting one of these just out, you go out there and look where that shooting range is. There's no residents around it. It's in an ideal, looks like situation. And we've got a lot of objections to you putting this in where you want to put it in. So it's going to be hard for me to recommend approval on it for the reasons that I've got here in front of me. And is there any reason the one there on Shinnerup wouldn't be a good place to do what you want to do?
Yeah, this is for our guests that come to the ranch. We have a lot of guests that will come for anywhere from 5 days to a week to 10 days and stay at the ranch. So this was an extra feature benefit we would offer them, and we do a lot of horse riding. They come here to horse ride and do all kinds of Western activities there. So this was just going to be another activity we're going to offer them. Based on my experience with our guest, again, I do not expect this to be a lot, at most once or twice a week. Again, we are talking very minimal shooting here, but it's a service we kind of wanted to offer them because a lot of times they do ask us, hey, can we shoot? I've never shot a gun in my life, and it's something, you know, we'd like to be able to offer as an extra service. And like I said, I am not opposed to having restrictions as far as you can only shoot twice a week between certain hours and so forth, and we want to work with the community in that regard, and including putting sound barriers to minimize the impact. So we're willing to make sure this is very little disruption, and I would venture to guess that most people won't even notice the shooting going on there once we have everything finished as far as the design plan and everything. And to answer Mr. Azami's question, the reason we have no plans set in place yet, because the NRA is coming out to give us a final approval on that, we wanted to make sure we submitted something that had passed the NRA test. So that's why we haven't submitted the actual design plans yet.
And when are they supposed to come out?
The 17th and 18th of this month.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Okay, taking into consideration, I don't like to go against CRRs and POAs, HOAs, because you buy the property, you know what they are. However, I'm listening to the Property Owners Association saying that they'd like more information. They'd like to talk about it. They may, you know, be willing to work with you on this. I'm listening to Mr. Gould and his opposition of where his property lines are. And if I were to read this and look, it looks like a full-blown shooting range. I would maybe like to see more information and a full meeting, you know, public meeting with your association, your surrounding people, and outline everything that you plan on doing, you know, in writing for them, and see if you can come to an agreement on that.
Is that something that's possible? I mean,
Absolutely.
Okay.
Like I said, we originally thought when we called the association that we were okay with it, but if they have more concerns, we are more than happy to sit with them and work something out that will meet the CCNRs. And I think the CCNRs are more concerned about noise pollution, and we do believe that we can definitely mitigate that part. Especially in the location we're looking at now, there's two options for the shooting. One would be obviously towards the berm, but another one is inside about a 10-foot deep ditch that goes to the end, has another 20-foot berm, and we feel even inside there, the sound impact would be very, very minimal. And we understand that seems to be the main concern. As far as safety, you know, any range that's approved by the NRA is going to be a safe range, so I'm not concerned about that being a problem, but I do, you know, I understand that people are worried about sound, and I know we can mitigate that aspect of it.
okay. Thank you very much. Any additional questions?
Just a comment.
Okay, go ahead.
I would echo the comments that were already made, and I don't see how we can approve this if it's part of an association with CCNRs that prohibit it at this time without the approval or the working with the association to get approval or to mitigate it in some fashion. So I would suggest that meeting is held, and if there's support there or a way to find a middle ground to make it happen, then I'm all for it. But without that, I don't see how we can approve this today.
Agreed. Mr. Chairman, I have a comment for the applicant. I like to do everything I can to help the applicant that's applying for something. I don't fully understand what you have out there as far as you say your guest. I do know that in many cases, if you're no closer than you can't shoot within a quarter of a mile of other people's housing or property. Does your present ranch situation fit that need now?
Yes, it does.
So why do you need permission to put in a shooting range if you could let your people target practice or do what they want to when they're out there as guests?
The current zone where we're at now can be used for a shooting range. We just felt this other parcel was more conducive and more appropriate for it, so that's what we're looking to have, to put it on that new parcel. But, you know, yes, we could technically put it on the currently zoned parcel if we wanted to. We just felt the other one was more appropriate.
Because next to that new parcel is another property owner who owns property and bought property there with certain CCRs. That's a problem, as I see it.
Well, I think the CCRs basically bar against noise and shooting, you know, as long as shooting doesn't have a noise impact, I believe it would not violate the CCR, and I think that's something we can obviously meet with the association and reaffirm their concerns about that.
Well, I just shot my 300 Weatherby yesterday to see if it's on target, because I'm going elk hunting, and there's a lot of noise. And I would say for probably a good mile.
Big elk.
Well, you know, like I said, I like to help people, and I like to go see things done, but this is wrong place, looks to me like.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I have a question for the staff. The properties immediately to the northeast of this application, it seems it's already subdivided to a small parcel, is that correct? At least on this map it shows.
The property immediately to the northeast?
Yeah, I mean, immediately to north and northeast and goes north. Is that subdivided? I see those lines on the zoning map.
Yeah, those parcels are within Stagecoach Trails, Stagecoach Trails at Santa Fe, Unit 17.
So it is subdivided already?
It is subdivided within
And they
that.
have different ownership and different people owns that, right?
I believe so, yes.
So I agree 100% with Commissioner Abbott that, you know, there are individuals that they own those properties, and, you know, if they plan to have a home or getaway home or whatever, I think that that's going to be disturbing to them. It's very close to it.
Any other discussion? I'll entertain a motion. Yes. Absolutely, come on up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want the commission to remember that the Stagecoach Trails Property Owners Association does not have the power to waive CC&Rs. That would take at least a majority vote of the property owners, which would be a big deal. Most of these people don't reside in the area, and getting a majority vote of the property owners would be extremely, extremely difficult. So I would prefer that you go ahead and move a denial of this, because that would be a very, very long-range thing. And frankly, I have better things to do than to attend a bunch of meetings. Not that I don't love talking to commissions, and not that I didn't love sitting at a dais also, but everybody has better things to do, and we shouldn't have to continue to defend our property rights in something that's most likely never going to occur. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I don't believe that the land use ordinance of the Mojave County governs anything about the CC&R, but I think that, you know, based on the other facts, you know, I would say that we should, you know, deny the application.
Let the board make up their mind.
Exactly.
Okay. All right.
So I don't know if you're ready to.
Anyway, I'm ready for someone to make a motion.
I'll make a motion to deny this application at this time.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Zami, second by Commissioner Gordon. Any further discussion? Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question for the staff. I noticed that, you know, you have recommended approval on this item that we just denied. What was the base, I mean, did we factor all these things that we just talked about in it, or who makes that decision of approval or denial?
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, the staff makes a recommendation prior to receiving any comments back from neighbors, the public, et cetera. So our recommendation is strictly on a technical basis when compared with our ordinance. We also typically do not have, and did not have in this case, ready access to the CC&Rs. That's typically not something we consider unless a member of the public brings it up to us. There's some issues with CC&Rs, whether or not they're still valid, whether or not they're still recognized by the property owners themselves, et cetera. So that's something that the public brings to our attention. Once brought to our attention, we did look up the CC&Rs to verify what the public was telling the commission was indeed accurate, and we found out that that was the case.
Thank you.
Any additional discussion? Oh, we already did that,
Yeah,
didn't
no,
we?
no, that's just
Item number 3A.
follow-up.
Item 3A is an evaluation of a request for an amendment to the Mojave County General Plan from an MR, medium-density residential land use designation, to a GC, general commercial land use designation, to allow for open lot storage for assessor's parcel number 324-19-862 and 863 in the Kingman vicinity, Mojave County, Arizona. And staff does recommend approval with standard conditions.
Is the applicant present? Okay, we have no speakers on the item. Would you like to tell us what's going on?
Staff and...
Please state your
Council-
name and address.
My name's Robert Lewis, address at 1371 Hancock Road, Suite 1, Bullhead City, Arizona. We have owned this property for approximately 8 years. Presently, when we purchased the property, the previous owner had it fenced and was using it for a open storage yard, probably 16 years. So it's basically a map correction. We realized that the map we had notified and realized the map and the use didn't match, so we're correcting that now.
Any questions of the applicant?
Basically, you want to continue doing on the property what's been done there,
For 16 years, yes.
open lot storage?
Yes, it is properly fenced and covered.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I believe that, the application is consistent with the neighboring properties, it's commercial and all that. So I think it's appropriate for them.
Yeah, I totally agree. Any additional questions?
By the way, I like your shirt. Bear
Thank
down.
you, my daughter does too.
Bear down.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, have a nice day.
All right. We have no questions of the speakers. Any questions or comments? I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve per staff recommendation.
Second the motion?
I have a motion by Commissioner Selberg and a second by Commissioner Kelly. Any further discussion?
Kelly?
Oh, Kelly? No, I'm sorry. Walker. Walker. Come on. Any further discussion? Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 3B.
Item 3B is an evaluation of a request for a rezone of assessor's parcel numbers 324, 19, 862, and 863 from a C2 general commercial zone to a CMO, commercial manufacturing - open lot storage zone, to allow for open lot storage in the Kingman vicinity, Mojave County, Arizona. And staff does recommend approval with standard conditions.
Okay, the applicant is present. Do we have any questions of the applicant or staff? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion to approve.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Selberg, a second by Commissioner Gabrielson. Any further discussion? I'll enter, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right.
Definitely recommend cutting pay for our chairman.
What? I heard that. Okay. Does staff have any questions or comments? Notices?
Eddie, I'll cover your expense.
Cutting pay, I said, We have to
Anyway,
pay him too much.
Commissioner Gabrielson has got something to read to us, and before she does that, I want to thank her for her service, and she's done an exceptionally good job sitting on the commission, and myself and I believe the other commissioners appreciate all your work.
Thank you. It's a sad day for me, I'm not going to lie. I'll miss you guys, the ones I've worked with since the beginning of my term, to those who have come in. And yes, I have been asked to resign, and I'm doing it my way. I'd like to extend my appreciation and my huge thank you to this board for always helping when we have loss of fires and employees that have nothing. For those who contribute to the Lincoln Felter Center, bringing them Christmas. I'd like to say a huge thank you to the staff from when I first started and helping me educate myself and grow. I know you guys work day in and night, and no one really realizes how much you do behind the scene, and I've got to see that. And what you do is extraordinary. So thank you guys for always being there, finding the answers, and what you don't know, bringing it back to us. I want to say I've learned a lot. And to the people that I've either held the hand of out there in the public and the citizens, and the huge, enormous support of them requesting me not to resign, I thank you. It means a lot. I think that I've sat here honorably. I think that I've sat here and done right by the people, their property, and their rights. So with that, I wanted the opportunity to resign my way. And I will miss you guys a lot. And you'll see me. I'll just be on the other side of the podium. So I will be back. So thank you guys very much. But this will be my last meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Call to the public.
Call to the public, yes, call to the public. No one called to the public, close the public comment period. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion to adjourn.
We have a motion by Commissioner Walker and a second by Commissioner Gordon. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign.
I thought that was Commissioner Kelly.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I would like to say that what I've seen from Crystal since I've been back on the board, she really gets into the items and gives a great report on how she sees it and what the situation we're against. So I appreciate the effort you put into what you've done.
Absolutely, and
Yep.
on the commission and off the commission, and the community and support, and anytime that there is a need anywhere, Crystal has been involved, so me too, thank you.
All right. Meeting is adjourned.